Hey guys, welcome to the Huawni Hangout. Got some good friends on the call today, and thank y'all for joining. It's great seeing everybody, seeing y'all's faces from all over Texas and outside of Texas. So real quick, I just wanted to hop on a quick call with some of my closest friends to share about Camp Huawni. For those of you who don't know, Camp Huawni has been around in our family since 1965. We are a traditional summer camp for boys and girls. We have a boys' side of camp and a girls' side of camp. A lot of siblings come to Huawni because they get that shared interaction, but they still have like their own separate camp. And we have, there's our main camp, like our traditional camp is a 2-week term. And then our starter camp is a 1-week term. So we'll have kids that come, some kids will come like 6 weeks. A lot of kids come 2 weeks or 1 week. We have some kids that will stay the full summer, which is like 8 weeks, which is crazy. So I was thinking, again, I know all of us on this call, we all have kids that are camp age. I know Lauren's a little bit ahead of us, right? And so got a lot of friends who are like thinking about summer.
Thanks for making me feel old.
I think we're like the same age. We were in the same friend group at camp back in the day. So
we are not the same age, though. It's okay, Trav.
So anyways, I was just thinking, I've got a lot of buddies that are thinking about camp, and I've, being in the camp world for a while, I've got lots of friends that have camps all over the U.S., and I've kind of seen all the ins and outs of camps and how they're run. And I'm super excited today because I can really vouch for Huawni and what makes us special and safe for parents, and a cool family tradition. And we're going to hear some more from Lauren on that. But when I think about like what makes Huawni unique, real quick, first I thought about that we are purpose driven. So at the end of the day, right, when kids leave camp, we want them to know what we call their true significance and purpose. It's like who they are at the core, and they can go change the world because they're secure in who they are. They don't feel like they have to be somebody else. They're accepted, and they learn at camp. They can start to discover more and more of who they're made to be. So, and we really do. I mean, you can ask TJ, but we really do spend time the whole off season thinking about how can we create an environment for these kids to blossom and for that to actually happen. Because we don't want to force it on kids, but we do want to create a really rich environment where they have the time of their lives, they meet their best friends, and they grow a ton, and they have a foundation that's unshakable. And I think we do that really, really well. We're very intentional about that. The second, and so when we say that, like there's actually stuff behind the scenes that's actually happening to make sure it gets safe and also make sure that happens. The second thing that makes Camp Huawni unique, I would say, is we are very much a throwback camp. So in a lot of ways, we're like less is more. And in today's society, I mean, lots of camps, kids are unplugged, but we actually purposefully, we don't want to always be busy, because that's actually when kids a lot of times discover some of the things about themselves and when they connect with other kiddos, And so we purposely have downtime, whether it's, rest period or a very chillax night, after supper where they're just hanging out, or maybe it's a hike to the carving trees and we're doing a mud fight. It's super simple, but man, kids love it. And so we say simple fun is the most fun. And obviously being in East Texas, I mean, we're on like 600 plus acres of piney woods. So it is a unique geographic area too, like if T-Bone coming from Victoria, I mean, it's like a different scene than what the kids are used to or going down to the coast. Like it is kind of a neat spot in Texas, I think. And we have plenty of space to go run and play. That's cool. And then the last thing, and then I'll shut up because I want to let Lauren share about her kiddos. But when I'm thinking about why to send my kids, because Bear is, he's 6, so he's almost camp age. But number one is our kids need a place to grow away from us And so as all y'all are thinking through this, it's like, who are we as parents willing to trust and partner with to send our kids somewhere where they know they're going to be taken care of and nurtured, but also given an opportunity to grow? Because there's, if y'all read our brochure, it's the Homesick and Happy overview. There's 8 things we can't do for our kids, right? And so that's the number one reason, I'm sitting in a camp. And then 2, and specifically Camp Huawni, 2 is just leadership and care. So I would love for y'all, if you guys are interested and you're like, man, I really want to talk to my husband or wife about Huawni, we have the best leadership and the best care for your kids. And that's why I'm glad TJ's on the call, because, man, he is a gifted shepherd of people and environments. And if you want to know the nitty gritty about what we're doing to keep kiddos safe, it's second to none. And TJ's been in the camp world for over 2 decades. And we have a handful of really seasoned adults that are watching after your kiddos. So I'm going to shut up. Lauren, I texted her a few questions. Do you want to just share a little bit about William and Ellery and kind of, I think it was what's special overall, just what's so special about Huawni for y'all's family, and maybe a story about a meaningful story recently about how each kid, just something special that they've experienced through camp.
Yeah. Can y'all hear me okay?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I actually was a camper and counselor at Camp Huawni too. So I had the honor of knowing Travis's grandfather and his dad and uncle, and being there with him and his siblings. And that was just, I have so many great memories. And the fact that my kids wanted to go to camp and now they're forming their own relationships and making their own memories at a place that's so special to us is just like one of the greatest things. I can't say enough good things about Huawni. As you were talking, Travis, I mean, as a parent, your kids are often like so different, right? So my daughter and son both started going to camp right after kindergarten. We were like, ooh, we are all in with this camp thing. Y'all have fun. My daughter is super independent. She's always been like headstrong and ready for something new. My son, when he was younger, like not so much, pretty clingy and dependent. And the first summer we went to go pick up my daughter at camp, my son got out of the car with his little Crocs on and the grass was dewy and wet. And he like was horrified. He was like, my shoes are dirty. And my husband and I looked at each other. We were like, oh my gosh, if there was ever a kid that needed camp, this is the one. So what was so cool to see when he was old enough to go was what it did for him and his independence. Like he was able to see he didn't need us as much as he thought he did, right? So he formed these great friendships. He was just enamored with these fabulous counselors who are just the most fun, but also pour into them so intentionally. And he came home after that first summer and was like, Mom, I got this. Like, no, I don't, just a whole different mentality and like realization that he could be so much more independent. So I'm grateful that we got to see something like some of the fruit of that very early on when he started going to camp. As Travis said, like we've been there a long time. My daughter just spent her 11th summer at Huawni and my son his 8th summer. And honestly, this summer was probably, I mean, like you said, they've been there a lot of summers. This summer was probably the most special, amazing summer. And I could just cry because I'm so grateful after all the weird stuff in the world and their whole world being turned upside down, to know that they were going to a place where they're going to reconnect with friends, like friends that they've known for years, and they all reunite from all over the place year after year, to just like, I don't know, bond over what they're going through together and different stages of life, that they can have something they can count on. And like Travis said, like the simple things, simple fun, traditions of hiking to the carving trees and, tribal competition and all these things that they knew they could rely on those things to be like some continuity in all this weird stuff in the world. And when we picked them up from camp on the last day, they just hugged each other, hugged all their friends, hugged each other, and were just bawling because they had such a meaningful experience together. And I can remember being at camp with my brother, and like Travis said, that is one thing that's so unique. And it's, the girls and the guys are with their own, cabins and activity groups and all of that, but that I got to see my brother at camp and would wave at him, and like, same thing with my kids, that they're getting to experience something really meaningful together. So I was really thankful when we got in the car on the way home, and they kind of had each other to console each other and encourage each other, and just, talk about the memories and the friends. And I love that it's a throwback to simpler times. I love that the atmosphere is small enough that like all of those amazing counselors know your kid. They know them. They're not a number. They know their name. And I'm just, that's one reason that will always be a reason I recommend Huawni. I know there's a lot of great camps out there, but I'm obviously really partial to this for good reason, I feel like.
Yeah, that's great. Is there anything when you look at Ellery and William, how you've seen them grow the most for each one? Like, so I guess with William, it was independence, but maybe for Ellery, what's it been for her?
I think just seeing, kind of like you talked about, knowing that with all the expectations put on them from, us, themselves, their peers, their teachers, that, for especially Ellery, can go to a place and see that no matter what else anybody is thinking or expecting, that she knows she has a purpose in this world. She's been uniquely gifted for whatever it is God has for her. And that she can be herself, and she's not trying to live up to somebody else's standards. And that was actually something that I've seen in her and makes me really thankful, because they're more apt to listen to, counselors and other peers than they are sometimes their parents, right? When I can tell her all day long, like, you're unique, and, but when they hear it from someone else, it means something different. You know what I mean? They tend to listen sometimes a little better.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, that's going back to the growth ways we can't help our kids, right? One of the ways is we can't, be a healthy outside mentor to them, right? We have to partner with people we know and trust that can do that, because kids will listen differently. That's great. Any other thoughts? Or, that's really good. I think that's really helpful for me just to hear. Like everybody to hear, but anything else that comes to mind?
I don't know. We've had really good experiences there with, the kids and meeting new people, and then continuing relationships with kids that they met from the very beginning, first, second, third year at camp. And I love that they have those friendships with people that are all over the place. And as those of us that have been to camp, those relationships last. I still am friends with people that I went to camp with when I was a little kid, and big impact on my life where I chose to go to college and all kinds of things. So I'm just grateful for positive role models and friendships that have influenced my kids and the memories that they have at camp.
Awesome. Thanks for sharing. That's cool. Let me open it up for questions real quick. Brett, you got any questions? What would be helpful for you as a parent?
For us, I was just looking logistically, like what's coming from out of state, what's the best way? Obviously we can drive, but it's a forever and a day. Where do you fly into to do this? I've been to camp, but what's the nearest airport?
So Tyler is a good one. American flies into Tyler. So you go DFW to Tyler. You can go Shreveport, Longview. GGG is also close to camp.
Okay.
And if we do airport pickup, so if it had to be,
You do. Okay.
Dallas or Houston. I mean, I would say honestly, I think Tyler, TJ, you correct me if I'm wrong. I might be wrong here. I think Tyler might be the best pickup spot. And
yeah, Tyler's great.
Yeah.
Yeah, Tyler's great, and we're just kind of really hopeful for a non-COVID summer and all that kind of stuff. It kind of messes with things, and we've had to. Last summer, we asked some of the families to coordinate, and we gave them a couple of names, like, "Hey, would you be okay if a camper's flying in?" So we had a couple that flew into Shreveport, and we had families coming from Louisiana that picked them up and brought them to camp, and we kind of hooked them all up on the front end. But it was because we were pretty locked down this summer to not get outside of our bubble and that kind of thing. But normal summers and all that kind of stuff, yeah. I mean, Tyler's a really nice airport. It's quick and easy to get in and out of there, especially for a kid, whether they fly a whole lot or not. There's 2 doors to get in and out of that airport, so there's not a whole lot you have to worry about in that airport.
And our home office too, Brett's in Tyler, so we all live in Tyler in the off season. So yeah, it's an amazing airport. And just to brag, I'll brag on TJ real quick. We were one of the few camps in Texas this summer to not have any COVID outbreaks. So we actually ran from May 31st to July 25th, our entire normal schedule, and that was due to our TJ and our leadership and how they handle things. It was a miracle. But they were very diligent with the whole COVID thing, and yeah, kids were healthy and safe, and super grateful for that. But yeah, great question. But yeah, we have kids that fly from California. This summer we had some Europe kids that did not come, obviously because of COVID. But yeah, we got kids that generally will fly in from any state, multiple countries. So.
Sweet. Hey, so yeah, one other question though. Well, first of all, TJ, maybe you should run for political office, and you make some better decisions than some of the others. Hey, so if I'm sending 2 boys, what's the breakup as far as ages? Are they going to be together? Or are they going to be separate? If they are separate, how much interaction do they get with one another? My particular boy, everybody's bringing different age kids. Mine would be 10 and 13, maybe by then. So how does that work?
TJ, you want to chime in?
Yeah, it'll be, it's pretty close. It's kind of session to session. It's kind of one of the unique things that I really do like about Huawni is that when we're trying to put like ages as close as possible together, just because a 10-year-old and a 14-year-old are going through totally different things in life and that kind of thing. When it comes to interaction, again, this is a non-COVID summer. Their interaction would be, except for going to activities during the morning time frame in the afternoon, there's a lot of stuff that the kids think it's just like this free time, hangout time throughout the day in different spots, but really it's behind the scenes. It's coordinated free time for the kids to interact with different age groups and different gender too, but it's all under the supervision of our staff. The kids just think, oh, it's a free-for-all, but we have staff strategically placed around in different places to get a game of basketball together or throw a frisbee or just hang out, talk and hang out and that kind of thing. So there's a few different things. Again, another uniqueness of Huawni is that all age groups are doing the same evening activity. A lot of camps will break up ages. It's really funny just coming from some other camps and kind of consulting at other camps. This is a really unique thing, is that all the kids are doing the same activity, and the older kids are actually used to it, and they get excited about yeah, I've been doing this for years and years, and they look forward to it and really get into it and that kind of thing. So there's some interaction at evening activities and those kinds of things. So the only time we really segment them off is really just for their morning and afternoon activities when they go to the pool, or if they're going to zip line or whatever the case may be. It just keeps ages together. It gives us opportunity to have some conversations with the kids, and we're not having to create this vast deal. So it really, Brad, would depend on just if it was session 2, they're probably not together because that session is super compact. There's a lot of kids that come to that session. Some of the later sessions, it just kind of dwindles off because of sports and all that kind of stuff. And so you may have a 10 and 13-year-old together because there's, 8 of them in that age range.